The question is ChatGPT sending you leads? Matt, is ChatGPT sending you leads? Matt, Matt, are you walking while we're doing a presentation? Oh my God, that's so amazing. I'm so jealous. Okay. So everybody watch Matt lose some weight here. Okay. So first thing we want to talk about, I'm going to skip this because we're going to come back to it. This is me. If you need to keep up with me, this is who I am and where you find me and all this fun stuff. So whose grandma had this player in their house? Be honest here. Who had the console player? It could play a record, it could play a cassette, it could play a CD, and it could play your drunk uncle's 8-track tape player, right? Okay. I want you to remember each of these four products have the music. The player itself does not have the music, right? These are all large language models. This is how I think of things. Okay. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Grok have the knowledge. They have the music. They're the ones that are really knowledgeable. Perplexity is the player that plays all four. Okay. Perplexity, as of now, what I understand about it, it does not hold the music itself, but it can play all the music and put it all together. It can be a powerful thing, but the LLMs are actually the other four. Okay. I tried to make this metaphor with VHS, beta, CD, DVD, and it got too cumbersome. So I went back to music.
Mhm.
Okay. I want you to think of these four LLMs as ants who love you. These are four ants who think that you are the best little person in the world. Heather, we love you. We're going to take you to brunch and we're going to learn all about your real estate business, how you're doing. And then they go back to Bunko and Pickleball and tell all their friends to use you as a real estate agent. Okay. You want to tell these ants everything about your business. You want to write a weekly blog about I did this many showings. I made this many phone calls. I did this many listing appointments. I reached out to these folks. I had my big event and it went really well. Tell the ants about them. And the ants will then say, oh my gosh, if you put it in this format, I can then tell the world about it. Okay. So if Tracy tells the world her favorite meatloaf recipe, if Tracy tells ChatGPT a meatloaf recipe, ChatGPT will not directly quote the meatloaf recipe. But if it says, hey, if you publish the meatloaf recipe like this with schema and ideas, then I can reference it and put it back. So when she puts it out on the wall and it mirrors back, then the LLMs see it. Okay. The LLMs are there to help you create things that it can then later utilize. Okay. So these are my stats from my website. Kimberly, good to see you again. So these are my stats from my website. ChatGPT in the last year brought me 289 sessions, which are
Well,
213 users. Okay. They spent 5 hours and 26 minutes on my site looking at content. They looked at 19,000 different things. There were 1475 key events, which is a little bit more important than just normal things they look at. This is growing. Okay. Claude is a very distant second. Claude is the ant who's just getting used to me and understanding who I am. Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, and Copilot. Now, I'm not even on Perplexity or Grok. I haven't gotten into them yet. I'm just not there yet. I'm slowly building. You can't be everywhere at once, please. Unless you're Joseph, you just can't be everywhere at once. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Find one you like and grow into it. And that's the slide we'll talk about. But these are my actual numbers. I try to be honest and upfront with where I am. I am a student of this as well. Okay. If somebody says, who's an AI expert? Not one damn one of us is an AI expert because AI is still changing. AI is still changing. Okay. So when somebody comes to you and says, I'm an expert, go, yeah, not so much. Okay. First lab we have to do, if you have not attended this lab session with me, let me know and we'll do the lab session together at some point, is called Hello, My Name Is. We are going to basically create that little name tag. Hello, my name is Jessica. I'm a real estate agent in Destin, Florida. I work for this brand. I usually sell this much per year. People hire me because what is my unique selling proposition? Then you're going to get into where your areas of service are, where your reviews are. Here's my website. Here's my website site map. Here's all the details about me. And that's what's called a push. I'm pushing out lots of data to the LLM. Then I'm going to turn it into a pull and say, now ask me 10 questions one at a time so you get to know me and my business better. And I'm going to let the LLM interview me. So there's a combination of pushing out and pulling the data back. Okay. So it's a push and a pull prompt there. If you have not done this with me, book me and I'll do it for you. Okay. Now we're going to do the hello, my name is, and we're going to do the 10 questions on ChatGPT. When we do those 10 questions, I'm going to urge you to turn the microphone on because you will say more to the LLM than you will ever put into your fingers. Okay. Jessica, I bet if we went to coffee, you and I would sit there and talk for hours because I'm an expressive, and you already look like somebody I'd be friends with. Okay. But if I asked you to text me something, you text me one or two lines and be done. So talk to the LLM. These are your ants. Talk to them. Okay. We're going to take the hello, my name is over to Gemini. And we're going to take the 10 questions from chat and we're going to say, here's 10 questions from chat. Ask me 10 new questions. Ask me 10 new questions to get to know me better. Then we're going to take those 20 questions over to Claude. And we're going to do the same thing. Here's 10 from chat, 10 from Gemini. Ask me 10 new questions. Okay. We're going to do this 4 times and we're going to get over to Grok. Some people don't like Grok. Fine, don't do Grok. Just stop here. At the end, we're going to have 30 or 40 questions. By the way, those 40 questions can go into an FAQ document on your website. Those 40 questions can get marked up with schema and make an FAQ document on your website. They used to be able to be used as questions and answers on your Google business profile, but Google got rid of that part of the business profile. I'm still chapped about it. But this is what you can do with these 40 questions. If you have not done this with me, reach out to me. If you're my coaching client and we haven't done this, shame on me for not making you get through with this. I do have coaching clients. We're still struggling to get the last 1 or 2 of these done, and I'm going to be jumping up and down till we do them. Okay? Now, once we get the 40 questions on Grok, we backfill the 10 extra that Claude doesn't have, the 20 extra that Chat doesn't have. We're going to backfill all these. Okay. In the end, each of these need to have all 40 questions because each of them have different strengths and they all need to know you. Okay. Claude is the best at writing. ChatGPT is the best for quick answers, and Gemini is the best for research and putting together Notebook LM. They each need to have all the interview, but you're going to build it one at a time. Does that make sense? So simple to do, but we're going to do it. Kimberly, is that a question?
It is. Thank you. So we copy and paste the ChatGPT 10 questions into Gemini and say, now ask me 10 more questions. And then the
Yes.
same. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Each one builds on the other, builds on the other, builds on the other, and you're going to be verbalizing each time. Marcus, just a second. And as you get to the end of it, you can say, hey, here's a prompt. The prompt is going to be take those 10 questions and answers and put them into one block for me, and you're going to backfill each one. Marcus.
Yeah, including your answers too, right?
Including, oh, yes, of course, the answers, yes. I did have one person ask me, could they use chat to answer Claude? No, it needs to be you. You need to be involved with this. You are not just out of this. You gotta do this. Okay, so you're gonna take those 40 questions and answers, and you're gonna take it to Claude. Claude does the best writing. Now you can tell it to write at an 8th grade level or a PhD level or whatever level you want, but you're gonna say, assume the role of a copywriter and create me a biography that I can use on professional websites around the internet so that it will attract people to me as a real estate agent. And we can work on that prompt, but that's just a basic idea right there. You want to have Claude write this amazing bio. Now, Claude does something very important. It publishes what are called artifacts. Artifacts are basically, Claude says, here's your bio. Can I publish that for you? And you're going to say, yes, please publish that artifact. Sandra, I forgot to tell your folks this. Publish the artifact because now Claude, which is an authoritative website, has you on it as an artifact. Artifact just means blog. Okay? Publish the artifact every time. Publish multiple artifacts a week. So publish your biography on Claude, then take that biography and put it on all these different websites. These are 15 websites that we were told about that we need to have our sites on, okay? Have our biography on. Fast Expert, Real Trends, Yelp. By the way, when you go on Yelp and update your bio, they will call you and try to sell you an ad, tell them no, bugger off, and hang up. Okay. But you can still use their site. I'm not looking at the person I'm talking about here. I'm just saying you can use that site to have a reference point back. You're putting a mirror out there, you're putting your blog on that mirror so that then the LLMs can read it back to them. Okay. Because it will not quote your biography, but once you put it out in the public, then it can say, "Oh yeah, I do know about that. That's the person we should talk to." So Yelp, Reddit. Reddit is a site that I have ignored to my own detriment. We are getting deeper into Reddit. Think of Reddit as a Facebook, kind of a lightweight Facebook replacement. It has groups which are called subreddits. It does not have pages like you have a business page on Facebook. But Reddit is something I need to heavily invest in because my Facebook got a little wonky last week and I was really scared. HomeLight, Zillow, Realtor, Homes.com, Expertise. If you don't have profiles on all these, try to get profiles. Okay. If you don't have profiles, try to get profiles. You will then also need to put it on your brand. So I'm a HomeSmart agent, so HomeSmart has a site for me, and then put it onto your IDX site. I'm a Real Geeks proponent, but whichever website you have, they should have a place for you to put a biography on there. Any questions on this?
So
Okay.
Bob, you're saying it's 10 different, this is Rebecca, 10 different
Rebecca?
questions for each AI? I thought it was the same
Yes.
questions for all of them.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah. So if you sit down with Barbara Walters, if you sit down with 10 different interviewers, you're going to get 10 different interview questions. Eric, I'm going to mute you there. You're going to get 10 different questions from each of those journalists. Okay. So you need to have 10 different questions from each one. And if that didn't make sense, we'll cover it again when we talk next. And if y'all don't know Rebecca,
No, I got it. So thanks. Appreciate
she's
it.
amazing. Thank you, love. Okay.
One
So the second lab we work on, if you haven't worked on this with me, let me know, is structuring prompts. How to tell it what you want so that you get what you want. We all just tend to just ask it a question and then we get flustered because it doesn't know what we're doing. And so we have to think about how we're going to structure the prompt. And there are things called master prompts and system prompts that we can use. And then also specialize in certain things. But different LLMs are better at certain things than others. Okay. Just like certain coaches are better. I am not a coach that should ever look at your QuickBooks. I suck at accounting. I am not the right person for that. But I'm a super goober on social media and IDX and stuff like that. That's my bailiwick. Okay. Other coaches would be better for other things. Other LLMs are better for other things. So get to know them and get to know what you're good at and what you can utilize these for.
And
Make
just an
sense?
FYI for the prompts, sometimes, when you're asking AI to do something for you and it doesn't quite get it right, and you ask to do something to correct it, and then you ask, you've now 10 times, and finally it's the perfect product. When you get that, ask it for the prompt. Ask it to give you the prompt that would get to that product, that result, instead of going through that process again.
Yes.
Why do you ride in someone's blind spot?
I missed that, but I think that, I don't know if anybody, okay. So there's a 4-part structure to creating a prompt, okay? First is tell it its role, okay? Let's play ChatGPT. You are a copywriter doing real estate marketing, okay? Context, I want to make a listing presentation for 123 Banana Street, okay? Command, create this listing presentation as a PDF file with all these different sections, okay? And then format, I need this to be, I already said, PDF file with graphics and whatever. So you're going to give it 4 elements of what you want it to do, okay? Now that's what's called a push. I am pushing that out to the LLM. I'm telling it exactly, Elizabeth, I'm telling it exactly what to make for me. A pull would be for Elizabeth to then say, now, ask me 10 questions about this listing and about my services so that you can help me make this listing presentation tailored to them. So pushing out is like, I know everything, just tell me what I want. Pulling is, now help me understand what I don't see. Ask me questions about this so that you, LLM, can understand and make this better for me. Okay? Does that make sense? And we do a variety of pushing and pulling till we get it right. Okay? So this is the 4-part prompt. This is switching between pushing and pulling, picking the platform and mastering it. I said this earlier. I don't think that we use more than 10% of any technology we already have. Who's got at least 5 things that they're paying $100 a month for a technology company? Okay, they see us all as ATM machines. Okay, so if you go down your list of all the places you're paying money to, are you utilizing each of those to at least 50%? 90%? I've seen so many people who come along and go, I don't like my CRM, so I'm switching from brand A to brand B. Have you really used brand A? Have you understood it? Have you tried? No, it's just too hard. I'll go to brand B, and in 2 years, I'm going to switch off of brand B and go to brand C. We have got to stop doing that. Pick a platform and master it. And if it takes you a year to get from ChatGPT over to Gemini, over to Claude, over to Grok, great. I mean, start a beachhead on each, but spend time on the one that you are naturally attracted to. I tell people this. I'm a Facebook fiend. I love Facebook. I'm not so much on Instagram. I gravitate to one because I'm stronger at it. If one of these gravitates to you and you're really good at Claude, be really good at Claude. And when your friends start sparking up and saying, well, you're not really good at Perplexity because you suck, that's fine. You be you. I'm really good at what I'm really good at. Okay. I'm not saying don't be coachable and try things, but really invest in the technology and get to know it really well. Okay? Thank you. Now, this gets to where Leslie was talking about building repeatable master prompts. When you get something perfect, and that listing appointment is going well for 123 Banana Street, and you got it down, Elizabeth, ask it to make the prompt that would have gotten you there faster. Now that we have this perfect, what should I have asked you to do for me to make, Grape Street's listing presentation next week better? Okay, and it'll give you that prompt. Save it off, put it somewhere you'll remember it, and then pull it back up when you need it. Okay? Everybody understand this? Okay. Now, I want you to go Google your name and put the word realtor after it. Okay? I want you to Google your name. Nick, I can't say your last name, but Nick, Google your name and put the word realtor after it. And look at the AI mode up here. Okay? AI mode will tell you where Google is looking at, which websites it's looking at, who get your information. That information needs to be consistent. The biography needs to be the same across the board. Your picture needs to be generally the same. And you need to have information about you on each of those sites. Now, we're going to go back. Let's go back 2 slides. Oops, back. We're going to put all the information on these sites because we think this is where it's going to grab from. But when you actually do the search, these are the sites that there's actually grabbing for you. Now, Sandra's list will be different than Erica's, will be different than Leslie's, will be different than Mitzi's. Everybody's list will be different. Okay? Go through this list of websites and be sure your information is current, your picture looks the same, everything's right on them. Okay? Nick, I see you typing. I hope you're Googling yourself right now and figuring out which sites you need to go update. Thank you. I saw you doing this and I'm like, nope, not in this class. We're going to get active. But this is the lab. We're going to work. Okay. So this is important. Go out and do each of these sites. And this is educational because I forgot I was on Candy's Dirt, which is a blogging site about Dallas-Fort Worth. I forgot that, some of these sites were even out there. Okay. Go discover what people think about you and what you see. Now, if you have a really common name like Jed Davis, there might be multiple Jed Davises out in the world. So you need to be Jed Davis, Dallas, Realtor, whatever you are. You need to be Jed P. Davis. I don't know your middle initial. I'm sorry, my friend. But you need to have something different. Leslie Dawn Wilson the reason he goes by Leslie Dawn is because there are so many Leslie Wilsons out there. Why, if you have a generic name, and by the way, there will be multiple Leslie Wilsons who are in real estate. There are multiple people with your name possibly in real estate if you have kind of an easy name. Think about how you're going to make it different. So I love Mitzi Miami. Mitzi Miami, I understand what that is and who that is and what's going on. Okay. Now I got stuck with a Scottish last name. There's not that many of us out there. I'm okay. Figure out how to make yourself unique. Okay. Any questions on this? This is under the AI mode on a Google search. Okay. So most of us have a screen like this on our IDX website. Most of us have a box that says, good luck finding a house on your own, correct? Most of us have this box that says you can search for this price point, this city, this style, this range, whatever. And it's very much like, I use the idea that we're going to open a clothing store. So Ray, you and I are going to open a clothing store and we're going to put a nice set of trousers and shirts and stuff in the front window. But when Matt comes into our store and says, hey, I'm looking for this, we're going to say, your size and color are in the back room in a box. Go search through the boxes and find it yourself. Nobody's going in the back room. It's really sketch. It's really kind of scary and stupid. Okay. But on our shelves, we have nothing. We just tell everybody go in the box and go hunt and peck for the size and color you want. When we have a website that is not developed, that does not have every variety of house, price point, city, neighborhood, school zone on it, we're literally telling everybody, go look for the house yourself and it's in the back room, go find it. We need to develop our websites. And this is what I do with people and Leslie does with people is we help you lay your website out so that when people walk into the store that Ray and I are running, every house is available in some variety of search in some style. You will not know what the search is that's going to really hit. We had no idea that mother-in-law plan was going to be one of our best searches. Homes in Plano, Texas on a corner lot. Zillow and Realtor are going for Plano, Texas. They're not going for the deep link of how to get there. And that's where we build out and we get more SEO. And as Sandra said earlier, SEO is in the same family as AIO. Okay, now she was using wife and husband and stuff like that. They are all built on each other. SEO is the building block for AIO and GIO and EIEIO and all the rest of the IOs that are out there. They're all iterative of each other.
And
Okay.
back to what I was
SEO
pointing
is not
about,
dead.
back to what I was pointing about building out these other pages. You know, I'm in Houston. We have 40,000 real estate agents in our association. Let's assume that 5,000 of those actually have a website. How many of us are going to show up in the top 10 when they search for Houston real estate or Houston realtor or Houston real estate agent? We can't, because Zillow, the Houston Association of Realtors, and Realtor.com, they're all going to take up that space. However, where they don't show up are those long tail keyword searches. When you search for homes for sale in Klein ISD, Spring, Texas, and people search by that. People search for communities. They search for homes with pools in certain communities or certain zip codes. They make those extended searches, and those people searching who are doing a more specific search, they're more likely ready to buy.
Okay. Anybody else? Moving on here. So one thing I want you to do is think about building pages for each of these styles of searches. There's something called a query string URL. And if this is confusing, we'll talk about it separately. But your website should have a query string. There's only 2 IDXs that I know that don't. If I'm running a deli, and Jessica, you're going to help me here. You're going to be the waitress, and you're going to write up somebody's order, and you're going to say, you know, bread equals white, meat equals ham, cheese equals Swiss, mayo equals false. You're going to hand me that order. I'm going to know how to make that sandwich, right? When you're doing IDX work, you want city equal Plano. Price minimum equals this, price maximum equals that, pool equals no. Okay? A lot of the websites, what they do is they make it into gibberish language. I can't look at Plano, Texas. It's a code. And it's not even the zip code, it's just some other code. And it doesn't say what the price points are or whatever. It doesn't give you a good way to blog. Okay. You need a website that has a really clear query string URL. Because then you can go drop those links all around the internet. You can drop them on your social medias, you can drop them in your blogs, you can drop them everywhere and build out lots of strings back to your site.
And
Okay.
it's not even just that. If you don't, what he means by the string is like you can read over on this on the left, you can read what it's searching for. Over on the right, you can't read what it's searching for, which guess what? That means Google can't read what that is either.
Right. Right. So that's something, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll show you what that's about and we can work on that. Make people sign in. Everybody put your hand in the air. I swear I will make people sign into my website on the first house. Elaine, you don't really look like you're going to do it, but I trust you here, okay? Okay, because if we're running that same shirt store, I forget who I was running the store with, Ray, I think. If we're running the same shirt store and Matt comes in and we let Matt steal the first 4 shirts, hoping he signs in on the 5th house, if he can steal the first 4 shirts and we hope he'll pay for the 5th shirt because we want to be nice. And if we don't let him steal those shirts, he's just going to go over to Marcus's store and steal shirts from Marcus. No, make them sign in the first time. If they're going to steal the shirts, make them leave. Okay? Well, Realtor and Zillow don't make you sign in right away. Yes, they do. And that's how they sell you Zillow leads. That's how they sell you Realtor leads. Make them sign in. You're paying for this website. The way they pay you for it is giving you their digits. Now, on my IDX site, they've now got a verification. So those phone numbers are being verified. Okay? If you don't have that, talk to your website company and see if they can put some verification in there so that you don't get so many fake signups. We all get a certain number of them, but my brand that I work with does an amazing job. Okay. And I'm not here to talk bad about any brands, but if you talk to me privately, I'll tell you. Okay. So there's something on every site called a sitemap. Okay. It's your URL / sitemap. Usually it's .xml. This will tell me every page that you've developed and generally every image that you put on it. And I can go look at your site and see what's working and what's not. You can come look at my site and see what's working and what's not. When you have a competitor, I'm just going to pull in, let's say Stephanie is your competitor. Some of you know Stephanie. If I'm not talking about that Stephanie, I love that Stephanie. But let's just say, you know, she's your competitor. And you want to see why she gets every listing all the time. Her website's amazing. We can go look up her website and see what's working and what's not. We can run it through the LLMs and see what her strategy is and see where she's weak and build a site that takes advantage of those weaknesses and fortifies our sites against those weaknesses. Okay, we can go look at her Instagram. We can go look at her YouTube and feed it into Notebook LM is one of the great Gemini sites that we can use in Gemini as an LLM. We can feed it into those and find what their strategy is and what they're doing really well and how we can compete. So we can take her listings away from her next time. Okay. I just did this for Sandra. She's got a company that she is in, has some large competitors, and we just looked up all their website, their Instagram, their YouTube, and now we have a strategy on how to take them down. Okay, so talk to me if that's something you want to do. I'm happy to show you how. Okay, so we talked about the structured prompt, right? We want to give it a role. You are a professional real estate copywriter. This listing is a 3-bedroom modern house in Austin, Texas, with a roof patio. That's the context. Write a listing description highlighting lifestyle and neighborhood amenities. Limit it. The format needs to be 150 words with a strong opening sentence. This is how you build the prompt, as opposed to, help me write a listing description for this house. Well, it doesn't know what to do with that. And you're going to spend lots of time going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth till you finally get someplace. And you might even be like, look at the time, I got to run out the door. I'll deal with this later. If you give it this structure and you think in this manner, who are they? What is it that you want done? How is it you want it to look? And when, if you think of this format, you will spend less time trying to get the LLMs to do what you want. Okay? Okay. So this is something we're doing right now with ChatGPT, Claude, and Notebook LM. Write 5 blogs comparing 3 cities, each in my sitemap. I'm taking my sitemap of all the things I've created and giving it to the LLM. Using my sitemap, each blog should be 800 words long. Include reasons why people should consider moving to each. Reference price points and city amenities. Provide these details in bullet points and also in paragraph form. LLMs love to see things in bullet points. When you do that AI snippet, like, is Destin, Florida my place to move? It'll give you some bullet points. So if you have a site that has bullet points around it, that would be great. Okay. Now, I have put this in here. Remember fair housing laws and do not describe the people who should live there, because LLMs don't know a thing about fair housing and they just break all the fair housing rules. Okay, so we want to tell it that. We're giving it some context and some guide rails here. Okay. At the end, each blog should include a call to action, including my name, phone number, email address, and website. I'm formatting there. See, I'm doing formatting. Okay. Include a meta description and keywords at the end of each blog. This is a prompt that generally follows what I just was showing you in the previous page. I'm giving it my sitemap so that as it's building the blog, it's putting links deep into my site, not just going to the homepage, not just bouncing off the homepage. It's going deep into my site to the pages I develop. And I see a hand, Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm curious. I live in San Francisco, which is just one big city. So I don't really want to compare necessarily other cities. Should I do this with neighborhoods? We have like 100 neighborhoods. So compare neighborhood A to
Possibly,
neighborhood
yes.
B, neighborhood C. Would that make
Yes.
sense with this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, and we'll work on that together. Nazim. Ms. Anna, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
No, it is a problem. I got to get it right.
I was going to ask something very similar. Like, I mean, when I say Washington, D.C., there's the Northwest, the Northeast, the Southeast, So,
We need to break it all up.
sorry?
We need to break them all up into individuals. We need
And
to
do
talk about,
individual.
yeah.
Also, like I'm licensed in 3 states, so I have to do different ones for each one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So let's take it, like, I don't know all the neighborhoods in DC. I know DuPont Circle, I know Georgetown, I know
Yeah.
I don't know, but in Virginia it would be compare Alexandria to Arlington to Fairfax.
McLean,
Right.
Fairfax.
Why should I live in McLean versus Great Falls versus
Yeah.
wherever? Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then it will create these amazing graphics. Let's see if I have those next year. I take all this data and I run it through ChatGPT and Claude, and then I take it to Notebook LM. Let's go over here. And it will create, this is for my East Texas site. Notebook LM did this in like 5 minutes. It compared Athens, Texas to Tyler, Texas to Longview, Texas. I couldn't do this in 4 days. It would look like crayons. It would be awful. This sort of work, it took everything and coalesced it together. I can go create that blog. I use this as the header graphic on the blog, put it out there. I can also create in Notebook LM something called basically a PowerPoint, a slideshow. And that slideshow is crawlable by the blogger, by the indexing. So if I put that slideshow as an attachment in the blog, Google can crawl that as well. Google can read all the words out of this. Now, let's think about this for a second. NotebookLM is owned by Google.
Google, yeah.
They want this to be something really good. They also, in NotebookLM, they create video for you. They'll do a 6-minute video about why Athens and Tyler and Longview are places you can consider. And it sounds like two little, like NPR hosts sitting there talking about Longview and how great Longview is. That video can be downloaded and uploaded over at Google's other site called YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Google owns Notebook, Google owns YouTube, Google owns us. Okay? But it can be utilized in a good way. So this is one set of graphics that it did.
Do you have an example of what one of those blogs looks like that you use the sitemap to hyperlink back to everything?
I don't have one right away. Do you have
Okay.
one?
I can pull one in a minute.
Okay. This is another one I did, which is on Marshall, Kilgore, and Gladewater. It's just going to take these and create 5 different blogs comparing different cities each time, and it creates this content for you. Now, I'm not the type who likes to let AI just run my computer and go. I want to hold on to the reins because I don't trust where it's going sometimes. I want to be sure the content that's being created is rich content, not just tofu. Okay? If you like tofu, I apologize. I'm not a tofu fan. I want it to not just be fast and blah. I want it to be rich and important, and that way it'll rank better on the LLM, on the search engines and the LLMs. Okay? So I want to
have a question. I don't know how to raise the hand. I can't find it anywhere. Isn't that considered a little bit steering?
Why?
Doing this?
No.
No?
These are market statistics.
Okay.
These are market statistics. There is nothing in here that says you and your type of people should live here, or this is really a bad neighborhood, you shouldn't live there. I'm giving market statistics.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Bob, you're putting the blog into LLM, and it's creating this, right?
Yes, this is out of Gemini. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So,
And what are you
schema is
using to create the blog in the first place? Any of the LLMs? So you create
I'm
the blog
using-
and pick 3 separate blogs and put all 3 into something like what's the one that the LLM? What's the one that I like? The big one,
Rebecca?
and that makes the images.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking my sitemap with all my cities and I'm asking it to create 5 blogs with 3 cities each and go through and create blogs about these comparisons. So I'm using ChatGPT or Claude to do that. I'm taking the result set and putting it into NotebookLM for the graphics.
And there's an example of a blog in the chat. There's a link to one of the blogs in the chat that we did.
Okay. Next is what's called schema. Okay. You will hear people talking about putting schema in your website. Talk to your website provider about how to do that. I know that my website provider does allow schemas. So talk to them about that. It's not that hard to do. And I'm going to show you what it is. Think of schema as post-it notes on top of the document. Okay. You're going to put a post-it note beside where the phone number is. You're going to put a post-it note beside who the author is. You're going to put a post-it note beside the important part of the blog. You're going to put a post-it note next to the title. That way, when the AIs are looking at your site and looking at the content, they can go right to what they're looking for. Okay, and there are specific schemas for different types of things. So if it's an FAQ, frequently asked questions, it's going to look for these post-it notes to be on the FAQ. If it's a blog, it's going to look for these post-it notes on the blog. If it's a website, it's going to look for these post-it notes. So we want to have the schemas in the right sequence. And there's one site that helps you make this work well. And it's google.com Webmasters Markup Helper. Okay. Before you freak out that, oh my God, one more thing I got to learn. What you do is you put the URL for the blog you just created right here. I saw you do it. And oh my God. You put the URL for the blog you want to do right here. You tell it what sort of blog it is. Now, there are other sorts of schemas that aren't apparent here, but these are the ones that are currently available on this markup. And what I use the most is article because it's blogs. Okay. And you put it in here, and then you can start laying out with I can highlight Mother's Day Brunch is the title. Author, Texas Pride Realty. Date published, and I highlight the date published and it puts it over here as date published. And I can literally go through and then mark up what it is. And once I mark it up and hit generate schema, it generates the schema for me. I put that into the blog and it's schemaed. It's not that hard. You just have to know how to do the post-it notes.
And I included a link to the Google Webmaster Markup in the chat.
You're my bestest friend. Thank you for doing that. Okay, any questions? This is a lot, I know, but it's how to get into the AIs, how to use the LLMs to mirror back content that it will then tell other people. I got a call the other day. Somebody had asked ChatGPT who should list my house. He told him about himself and what the property was, and I got a phone call and we now have a listing. This is what needs to happen. Everybody's still quiet. Erica, don't dominate the conversation like you normally do. Come on now. Who's using ChatGPT at least at level 5? Who's using ChatGPT below a level 5? 5 out of 10. You think you're trying, but you just don't know enough. Okay. Who's got a competitor that they want to look up and see what they're doing so that you can get better? Yeah, call me. We can do that. Okay, no questions at all? I got 20 more minutes here. If there's no questions, I'm going to give you 20 minutes of your day back. Let me check.
I have a question. This is Rebecca again.
I knew you did. Somebody would.
Curious
Okay.
Gemini. So I like this idea of comparing 3 different communities or neighborhoods or whatever. I would imagine you could also do that with 3 different, say, architecture styles or 3
Absolutely.
different. Can you do it? I mean, there's so many different things you could do it with. Neighborhoods with views, or even best suburbs or something. So I just think that's a great idea. I've done a lot of 2 comparisons, and what is the advantage with the 3? Just getting more
It's
keywords
just,
out there.
yeah, just a little bit more. It's not any better or worse.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
And
this is,
something
go
I
ahead,
would
Leslie.
consider doing like high-rise buildings. Like you can compare multiple high-rise buildings. And if you're in a major metro area, you don't want to compare all 100 of those high-rise buildings at once. You want to pick 2 or 3 that, maybe based on budget or maybe based upon lifestyle type of thing.
Actually, we're doing that. Bob kind of helped me with a site
Of
map of where
course you
my
are,
gaps
Rebecca.
were. Yeah,
Of course you
yeah.
are.
It's
Bob's
like,
got you.
Bob's my coach. I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. He's the
Rebecca's
best.
my friend. I'll do anything for her.
I love
Um,
you.
aw, okay, so this is going to turn into a personal call here in a minute. So this is one that Leslie was talking about. We use Notebook LM for the graphics. We use ChatGPT, I think, for the content. And you see these are deep links into our site. This is our Austin Best Agent site. And it's not just going to austinbestagent.com, it's going deep into the site to the pages that we built. That helps your SEO. If all your link backs go to your base URL, that's not as fun. But when it sees that you have links deep into your site going to specific pages, Austin, homes with a pool, Austin homes with 3 bedrooms, Austin homes with an ADU, Austin homes with a mother-in-law plan. If you have those sort of specific links, it gets more SEO.
Yeah.
And
Every
that's
one of
why,
these links go back to properties for sale. Every one of the links
yes,
in the blog goes back to properties for sale for whatever that area, that zip code, that school district, whatever it is. And we use to get the titles for the blogs, we use ChatGPT we use Bob's AI writer to give us the prompt that I use Claude for. And I have Claude, I upload the XLM file, the sitemap file to Claude and have Claude put all the links in for me. So I literally have Claude write the blog, hyperlink it, and I copy and paste.
Mm. Hey, Bob, can I ask you a question?
absolutely.
So I have a company paid website that is given to us by my brokerage for free. And we've been really pouring into it with blogs and so forth. And I'm really worried about the LLM and see what the back end looks like, right? So I've been kind of like going back with getting WordPress and creating a new website. We have been getting some leads from ChatGPT. As a matter of fact, we're closing on a really big transaction that came exclusively from a website, from a blog within our website, with my free company website. So I've been kind of afraid of transitioning into WordPress or getting another website just because it'll until it starts picking up on the new website, I might, lose some of those blogs and some of that traffic that I'm getting.
Okay, so
I
I've
know
got
at
some
some point
thoughts
I'm
for
going to
you
have to do
already.
it. Huh?
I got some thoughts for you already. So
Okay.
3 thoughts I have for you right now. One is if I drive through McDonald's and I go to the first window and give them $10, and I go to the second window, do I get a free hamburger?
Yeah.
Or did I just pay $10 for that hamburger?
Yeah, you pay $10 for the hamburger.
You're not getting a free website. You're getting a website you're paying for through your brokerage.
Okay, you're right.
Two, anytime you are promoting the brokerage, you are promoting the brokerage. Have your own website. I love every brokerage out there. Stop feeding them and start feeding yourself. There are
Gotcha.
amazing websites that are under $400 a month that are fabulous. Okay. When you worry about losing your blogs on this site,
Yeah.
run them in parallel. You don't have to turn one off to get the other one going.
Mm-hmm.
Migrate the blogs over. Okay. The
Okay.
sites I like have really good blog skills. Run them in parallel. Over time, start migrating from one to the other. But you're not getting anything for free and you're promoting somebody else. Now, what happens when brokerage A, I don't even want to know who you work for because I'm not calling anybody out. And I've
Mm-hmm.
had this exact scenario happen. Brokerage A gets a call from website company one and says, hey, we'll start doing your websites for cheaper. And they say, congratulations, agent, you're getting new website company B tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Well, you had no control over your website to begin with or your CRM, and you're forced to migrate.
And if
And
you
there's things that
built
we
it
can't
out,
do, the LLMs and things like that you guys are mentioning that are so powerful. I can't integrate them.
well, here's the thing:
I mean, we'll talk.
the website that your brokerage is giving you, this happened at our brokerage. She went with KV Core, did it for 2
Yes.
years, took it
Mhm.
away, and
Mhm.
all the agents who took time building that out and making
Yeah.
it special, gone. So you don't have to keep updating that. That information will stay there as long as your brokerage keeps that for you.
Mhm.
But you definitely need to own your own real estate when it comes to your website.
The Tattoo Academy said that.
Sorry, Ray, I'm going to mute you. Yeah.
Okay.
So definitely don't think of it one as free. Two, I've had this happen too. I've tested large market brands where, let's say I go on your site and I sign up for Elizabeth, and then, I do that. But then in 5 minutes, Samantha calls me
Mm-hmm.
because the brokerage owns the lead. You don't have the lead. Samantha calls me and said, hey, you see the team on our website looking at this house. And I'm like, well, Elizabeth isn't free right now. You got me.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually called a website and said, hey, I'm trying, because I was trying to reach a realtor who was in another state. Hey, I'm trying to reach,
So-and-so. Yeah.
about this. And they
Mhm.
said, hold on just a second. And they hot swapped me over to somebody else who was on the desk that day. So even as I'm trying to get to the person specifically about their site or whatever, I can't get to them. Stop thinking you're getting a free hamburger when you gave $10 at the first window.
And not
Gotcha.
only that, when you leave that brokerage, they're going to market to your leads. They're going to
Yeah.
market, they're going to keep your content up, and they're going to market to your leads.
Yeah.
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 That's why
Now,
now I have Follow Up Boss, and I've gone that CRM, even though they give us a free one, right? I've transitioned to Follow Up Boss, but now I will continue, I guess, just going to the new website.
so
Okay.
Follow Up Boss is a great product. It will tie to Real Geeks. It will tie to the site that you go to.
Okay.
You can still utilize. I'm a BombBomb proponent. I like doing my mass emails in BombBomb. It ties to my Real Geek site. It goes perfectly. It just ties right in,
Okay.
and you keep moving. Most of them have what are called APIs that tie out integrations that tie out to other products,
Okay.
so that you can be using the top of line of each one. Now, let me also break down something. I'm not going to pull your website up and embarrass you over on the screen here.
Hey, it's not that bad.
Yeah, we would talk. You would. Anyway, we're not going to do that. I will tell you though that you have to own your site and your keywords, and you have to do a lot of moving into the site. Okay, no matter which IDX company you go with, it's like building a new construction home.
Yeah.
If you never move in a sofa, paint a wall, put the TV in, that home is going to be echoey and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you sell Erica a new construction home, and Erica calls you in a year and says, I hate this house. It doesn't feel right. Well, there's no bed, there's no TV, there's nothing in the house. You built the website, but you never made it personal.
Mm-hmm.
Move in and make it personal. Every one of these websites, you need to move in and make personal. Now, the trick is that a lot of the website companies don't let you move in.
Mm-hmm.
That way you pay them Google ads. Okay? The sites I use let you move in. They let you do things. They let you make it your own. And that's where they become unique. And they have lots of houses up front. Okay. A lot of the website companies will convince you. One, you need to have your picture on the front with your realtor pose and all your awards. You know, people are coming to your house wanting to see houses.
Yeah.
Let them see houses right away.
Yeah.
Okay. We have
Are these
120
any of these,
houses on the front of our house, on the front of each site.
Bob's, are these providers that you mentioned, do they create the website for you, or do you have to go into that
Yes.
or hire somebody?
They'll
Oh, they,
create the website for you, and then people like me, you know, I'm a goober. I
okay.
stayed in at PE in high school. I didn't go out and get knocked around the field. I stayed in the lab class and learned how to do computers. So now I can sit here and be like, just let me code and I'll code for you.
Okay.
And the one thing
Okay.
he hasn't
And
told you
you end
yet
up with them.
is that your website is a part of your business, that when you sell your business one day,
Yeah.
having a website that's built out every city, every zip code, every school district, every neighborhood, that brings in leads on its own.
Mm-hmm.
That's way more valuable than, oh, I'm at this brokerage and they have my website over here. Or it's way more valuable than probably a good 95 to 98% of real estate agents who have a website that has 5 pages.
Yeah.
So building it out is valuable. And I think the Texas Pride Realty site has over 200,000 links built out now. So if you think about it in that detail, that you just never stop building,
Mm-hmm.
it just grows in value. And if you were to pay someone to build out 200,000 pages, do you know how ridiculously amount that is? But you just do it over time.
Yeah,
You,
I understand.
you
So one thing, Leslie, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to jump on you there. Who has a question?
I have a question, Bob. So I
Yes.
also, like Elizabeth, I have a free website from my company. So let's say if I wanted to make a new website, you know, a good website, whatever, what do I do? That still stays there,
Mhm.
my
Yes, it
company.
still stays there. So HomeSmart is my brand. Okay. I'm licensed in Texas, Delaware, and Florida, just because I'm crazy. I am HomeSmart all three places. I am not promoting HomeSmart versus any other brand, but I'm the same brand across all three. Each of them have a profile for me as they're an agent in their company. I'm going to use that profile to talk about myself. I'm going to put my bio that Claude wrote and everything. I'm going to put it up on those. I'll put my picture and everything like that. Those become kind of profile pages. They're brochureware, as we say in the industry. It's a brochure. If you have a WordPress site, it's brochureware. It's like a fancy flyer for me. But my IDX sites, I have 6 IDX sites, are all real geeks, and they all have amazing SEO going behind them. They all have 120 houses on the front page. They all have every city possible to find. And using the query string URL that is easy to understand, I have built every iteration of every search possible that I could think of, so that when you go to Bethany Beach, Delaware, you can find a corner lot, you can find a price point, you can find a home with a pool, you can find a home with an ocean view, you can find a home with whatever was available in the. Now, every MLS is going to be different across the country because realtors can't standardize for crap. Okay. If there was one MLS and one thing, great. When Houston Association takes over all of Texas, I'll be happy, because every association in Texas has different rules in different fields. I am always sending in to the support staff and saying, hey, here's a field called this. Can you pull it over for me? And 9 times out of 10, they can. Every once in a while, they'll tell me, you know, the MLS just won't give us that field. We also have some super small MLSs where, even though the field exists, the realtors are super lazy and they don't put in the data. So, like, if there's a field for, is this a short sale or yes or no? None of the agents are using the short sale field, so it's really not relevant for us to utilize it in a search. But if you have a larger MLS and they have data rules and about how you put things in, you can really optimize this and make it amazing.
Okay.
I went on my
We
high
have
horse
to
there.
talk. Thank you. We have to talk about that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
we encourage you to build out for everything that's possible. Every city in your MLS, every county, everything. We don't care if you don't want to work that area. take the referral fee. Do you think Bob works in Florida, Texas, and Delaware? Hell no. It's the referral fee he gets.
These
Yeah.
are my retirement sites. I want to build these up, have them churning out leads, and just like who was it this other Samantha? I'll send you Delaware leads. I'll send, and if you're one of my coaching clients and you're in Florida, Delaware, or Texas, guess who I'm going to refer to? You. I don't want to drive people around in a car anymore. That's boring. I want to sit here in front of a computer and build new happy stuff.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
Bob, I have a question.
Yes, Nick.
You before we started the end of this session, you said like research about your competitors. Is there
Yes.
like specific prompts that you maybe can share with us in this moment that I can research my competitors with?
It would
Or
take longer than we would have time for. And some of the
okay,
prompts I'm using, I will say this, are proprietary. Okay.
okay,
Some of the things, here's the thing, is when you have somebody who creates an amazing prompt or something like that, everybody's like, well, give it away for free. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Just like I wouldn't say, Nick, hey, I want to list my house for sale by owner. Could you take all the pictures and do the measurements?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah. So I'm happy to share them with you. We'll schedule a time one-on-one and we'll work on that. But
okay.
I can't just afford to give everything away.
I understand. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Could you list
Erica?
my house for 0.5%? Because the guy down the road will list it for 0.5%. No, I'm worth 3%. Thank you. Yeah.
Erica has a question.
Erica.
Okay, so sorry, this might be a really elementary question, but I'm still getting my feet wet in all of this. You mentioned that we have to talk to our website provider to find out if they support schema, basically, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Google link the schema thing that we have to fill out.
Creator.
We
Yeah.
only use that if our host accepts schema.
Correct. So you can go create that schema all day long and then go paste it into your website provider. And when you paste it in, the website provider strips it back out because it does not like it.
Okay.
Now I
So
can tell you where I'm at, they don't strip it out. They like it. Okay. Some of them, when you do this pretty schema and you put it in, it goes, we don't like those tags, and they get rid of them.
okay. So we should have a website that will allow us to do schema, or because it's not gonna work if your website doesn't accept it,
No,
right?
if they're not gonna support schema, and I will say this again very politely because I don't want anybody like coming at me. If your website doesn't support things that let you do SEO, there's a business case for why they don't. Because if you don't support SEO, then my people have to buy Google ads from me. If you buy an HP printer, you have to buy HP cartridges. I have you for the next 5 years. It's not the cost of the printer, it's the cost of the cartridges that'll get you over time. If we limit what you can do, you're going to be hooked on our ads. Now, ads are good. I run ads through my provider. They do really well. But I also outpace them with my organic.
And just
Okay, it's a
FYI,
duality. Ads are not the end of the world. It's not bad. But when they limit you to only doing their ads, I have to understand why.
and just FYI, we've actually seen a IDX provider that says, "Oh, keywords don't work," and they only sell Google Ads. But you know what they did do? They went and bought the .net of that exact same site, and were selling the organic leads they got because they built the site out to their client.
Wow.
So, and they were probably
We
just
won't
charging
mention
her
their
for
name.
Google Ads. So,
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. So if you were if you were Erica.com and you worked with that IDX provider, they didn't tell you that they registered Erica.net. They're doing organic on Erica.net and selling you those leads, but they're not letting you do organic. And we
Got it.
caught them at it. And now they stopped doing it.
Well, that's
What do you
cool.
think?
They did that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. We will be doing this again next month. If you have any questions, reach out to me privately. I'm happy to work with anybody and work on whatever you want to work on. We'll do it. And we will do this again next month. Show up with more questions. It'll be a different lab class. They're iterative, so they're building on each other. So you may see some of the same building blocks each time, and you're like, well, he talked about that, but it's building towards new stuff. And
Oh,
each
no,
of these
it's
labs are
good.
going to be built.
Sometimes repetition is also good,
Say
Bob.
that again.
Sometimes
well,
repetition is good. You know, going
Say that
over.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.